It was Henri Nouwen that said pilgrimage is a way of opening ourselves to the mystery of life. And I love that idea of being prepared to open ourselves for a start off. But then what happens when we truly open ourselves is to open ourselves to mystery, because there's always going to be more. There's always going to be more that God shows us. We will never, ever fathom the whole picture, because there's always going to be more that God shows us. And I have to say that I am so privileged, really, to be a chaplain on Bardsey Island, which is a very wild spot. It's not for everyone because it's very basic. Uh, you live in very basic accommodation where there is scarcity of water. You have to watch that resource very carefully from the well. There's very little electricity. But there are amazing dark skies. There are incredible crashing waves. There's an abundance of wildlife. And in a place that has been a place of pilgrimage for a very long time, from the days of the 6th century Celtic saints, there's that real sense of the continuity of God, the rhythm of prayer that's been in this very wild, very isolated island, a mile and a half long in the middle of the Irish Sea. And you can't wrap your head around the number of people who've been praying there. For instance, so medieval exaggeration called it the Isle of 20,000 saints, because they believed that there were so many holy men and women who were buried there. That's just, you might say, well, that's a little silly, but they're trying to say you're never going to be able to process the idea of holy ground. It's beyond our imagination. They also called it the Isle of Resurrection, because, of course, you look from that island to the horizon. And it is in the stopping and looking that you get a sense of the eternal. And one pilgrimage to Rome was the same as 3 pilgrimages to Bardsey. The other way around, 3 pilgrimages to Bardsey was the same as to Rome. So you were gaining points in your eternal passport, as it were, to be in the company of holy people. You say, well, is that just superstition, or is it something? There was something there that they knew that this is holy ground. And holiness, even as an idea, has a mystery about it, doesn't it? You know, a sort of sixth sense when you feel so much the warmth and the glory of God in the thinness of place, and that idea of the barrier between heaven and earth being lower in particular places has a mystery about it, that I feel so close to God in this place. I feel so much the sense of not only my own mortality, but the witness of the communion of saints, those who've gone before me, those who are going to come after me. The smallness of self in the bigness of God is just, it's just utterly beautiful to be with people who somehow lose themselves in that moment. It happened to me once when there was a chap on the island who didn't have an articulated faith at all, but he was in a bird hide watching the seabirds. And I spoke to him afterwards when he said he'd had a very big experience. And he said that somehow I wasn't counting the birds. I wasn't making a record as I normally would. I lost myself. I completely lost myself in the wonder of watching and feeling. And I was able to share with him a quote from C.S. Lewis, which is, "We may ignore, but we can nowhere evade the presence of God. The world is crowded with him. He walks everywhere incognito." And he said, yes, that's it. That must be it. It must be that I have had an encounter with the Creator. And I just felt so incredibly privileged to be in that moment when you were helping somebody to make sense somehow of what they'd experienced and take it from there. I think being open to mystery is being open to the eternal glory, the eternal beauty of our living God, who can nowhere be evaded, who is not only in the thinnest of places, but is walking everywhere with us.